Hello, UCAR. Peter Christensen here, coming to you from the CEO's desk. So we just had casino night at UCAR. A lot of fun if you missed it. You know, pretend gambling, but a good time. But somebody asked me there, so is your next video going to be about gambling? Well, let's talk about it. So let's say you come across in a contract, you come across a mistake. Maybe it's a missed initial, a missed signature. Maybe it's a date. You know, we're coming up on in a couple months, New Year's, and we're gonna get some 25s written in where there should be a 26. We'll get we have they accept the day after the acceptance deadline, stuff like that. What do you do? What do you do? And here's where the gambling comes in. Because you kind of have a couple options. Let's say things are just rolling forward. Maybe nobody notices that there was a mistake. Maybe people do, but say, just an honest mistake. Let's just keep going. Well, you can pause the transaction to fix it, right? Write an addendum to address the mistake made. Get both parties to sign it. Or you can keep going knowing that it's probably not a fatal error and all the parties are of the same mind and you'll get to the finish line, no problem. Well, with the latter, you're gambling, right? You're see, tie into casino night there? So you're gambling. You're gambling that everything will turn out right. So let's go to our example of it was accepted after the deadline, acceptance deadline. Let's say it was the next morning, signed, and it's sent over, and it takes a couple days before anyone even notices. But at that point, you realize, oh, wow, this was wasn't really validly accepted because it's past the acceptance deadline. And so really the offer lapsed and could no longer be accepted. But the parties are okay with the terms. They meant to accept it. So we could go forward. Now, why are you gambling? Well, what we look for is certainty, right? In a contract. That's what I view your greatest accomplishment in the transaction is bringing certainty to it. That we're not going to have questions that could cause disputes, could cause issues. So you have taken certainty out. Why? Well, it appears like the parties want to keep going, but if you don't address it, then it's hanging out there. You do have an error in the transaction. Now, have you seen these go through? No problem. Get to the end, and it closes, and there are no issues? Probably. Does it happen sometimes that it does cause an issue? Yeah, for sure. I see those, right? People don't really call to tell me that there was a mistake, but everyone got past it and went to a successful transaction, a successful close. Yeah, I get the call when they look back a week later, they're arguing over some due diligence item, and then one of them points to the fact that they don't have an accepted offer, a validly accepted offer. And then the arguments go back, well, but an addendum was sent since then, and it was signed. So is that enough to overcome the error? Does that show the intent of the parties to continue on, that they didn't want to count that as a fatal mistake? It's a question mark. And if parties want to get upset about it, then they could push on that. That's enough to give one of the parties, hope that maybe they can get out of the transaction. Now, will they, won't they? Really, what it comes down to is a judge would have to interpret it in the end. But before then, you're to the point where you've caused, by overlooking the mistake, you've caused the option for parties to start fighting. and you've created the atmosphere or allowed the atmosphere to exist where the parties can argue over an issue that wasn't fixed. And most likely they work it out, but the ultimate who's right, who's wrong, well, one party is going to say, we think you accepted an addendum after that. You clearly meant to accept it, so we think you will be held as accepting it. The other party is going to say, well, it wasn't validly accepted, period. Doesn't matter what we did after that. What we did after that was based off of an unaccepted offer. So who's right, who's wrong? Yeah, both sides will have their argument in court, but you've both lost if it's put to a judge to decide. So that's where I say I prefer to fix it. I prefer to take a moment and say, hey, we're being a little cautious here. I know everybody's getting along great, and I don't want to derail it, but let's just sign this addendum just to make it current. And, some argue maybe that gives the other side an opportunity to see an out and fight. Oh, you've acknowledged that there's an error here. But are you really that worse off than having the error there? By acknowledging, yeah, we know there's an error there, and we'd like to fix it. And I say better now than a week or two down the line when you're further invested into the transaction, and now you're fighting over it. So don't gamble. Don't gamble with the certainty of a contract. Don't gamble with the peace of mind for your client. Remember, this is not legal advice. This is legal information only. If you need specific legal advice, please contact your attorney. Thanks for tuning in.